everyone, today we're making little bird's nests using Phyllo pastry sheets. This is also called puff pastry and is available in your grocery store freezer section, usually in 1-pound boxes like this one. And you can see all the great desserts and savory dishes that you can make with this. Basically, it's very, very thin pastry sheets and they come in a big stack. Now you're going to need some very thin strips of this pastry. And I'm using a sharp knife just to cut a small section into very fine strips. Now I'm making just a few of them, so I'm only using a very small section of the dough. If you want to make a big pile of these, I will put a link in the description box of a recipe that does make several of them to give you an idea of what kind of quantities of ingredients you're going to need. Now I'm using a sharp knife just to finely cut this into very thin strips, as thin as I can get them. However, depending where you live, you could probably buy these already shredded, and it is called Cupcakes, and that's finely shredded phyllo pastry. But we don't have that where I live because I live in a small town and there isn't very many specialty food shops here. Now once you have your dough shredded, or place the already shredded dough into a bowl and just kind of shake them around a little bit, toss them a bit, just to separate all the fine pastry sheet layers. And then we're going to flavor it by adding some cinnamon sugar and a little bit of melted butter. Now I put the sugar first. I probably should have put the butter first. It would have probably been easier to coat them that way. And as I mentioned, I'm just making a few of them, so I'm just putting a little bit of each. So just gently toss these around until it's well coated. You could also just use the pastry plain. You don't have to put any kind of flavoring on it. You can just drizzle a little bit of butter on them. Then grease a mini muffin tin and take small clumps of the pastry and just press them into the muffin tin. Make them into a nest shape by putting a small depression in the center. And then you're going to bake these at 375 degrees for about 5 to 10 minutes until they are golden brown. And once they're baked, let them cool and then gently pry them out using a butter knife. Go around the edge to loosen it first. And there are your completed little nests ready to decorate. And cupcakes, of course. These are just plain old cupcakes with some blue frosting on it. You can use whatever color you'd like for frosting. And I think these would look really cute if you're making a dozen of them, to have all different Easter colors made. And we put them all together, it would look really great. Now, for the eggs inside the nest, you can use jelly beans. They're starting to sell Easter jelly beans here, and that's what those are. Or you can use these ones. These are candy-coated chocolate eggs that are sold at Easter time around here as well. Now to hold the little eggs in place, I'm just putting little dabs of frosting inside the nest, but you don't have to do this. You can just plunk the eggs in just the way they are, but I thought that they would stay in place a bit better if there was a little bit of frosting in the nest. And then just place the eggs in. And there you go. Very simple, but very cute. Now, another alternative to this would be to make little birds. And I found this idea on Martha Stewart's website, and I'll put a link to that in the description box. She used icing to make the birds, but I'm using these little blue eggs by taking a little bit of frosting in a Ziploc bag, cut the corner off, and pipe on a little beak, and using some ready-made black frosting, I'm going to pipe on 2 little eyes, and basically, that's it. That's your completed little baby bluebird. Another alternative is if you want to make the bluebird look like it's a little bird that has the beak open, you can pipe 2 little yellow pieces and then the eyes, and it looks like the little baby bird is opening its mouth for food from its mom. Just like that. And same thing, adding a little bit of frosting to hold them in place so that they don't fall over. And then place the little birds in. I'm just using frosting out of a can here because I'm only making 2 or 3 cupcakes. And I didn't want to make up a recipe of buttercream for that. However, if you're looking for a buttercream recipe, go to my channel page. On the right-hand side, there's a little button that says More. Click on that. It'll drop down and you'll get the buttercream recipe. Now, I'm going to show you a different way of making the nests. This is just melted chocolate chips in a bowl. And to this, add some fried chow mein noodles. And these are sold at the grocery store. They're dry and crispy. And place them into the chocolate. I've broken the pieces up to make them smaller. If you want to make a big bunch of these, I'm also going to give you a link in the description box below of a recipe that does make a big bunch of them so that you can see what kind of quantities of chocolate and quantities of noodles that you're going to need. And just toss the chow mein noodles in the chocolate until they're coated. Then on waxed paper or on a cookie sheet, or in this case a plate because I'm only making a couple of them, place a spoonful of the mixture and just form it into an egg nest by making a hole in the center and pushing the chow mein noodles around the edge to make a circle shape. And then let them harden on the countertop or put them in the refrigerator if you want it to go a little bit faster. And once they're hardened, you could place the eggs inside. In this case, I'm throwing some of those jelly beans in there. If you put the eggs in when the chocolate is still kind of liquid in the center, the eggs will stick in there and they won't fall out afterwards. And then you can place it on a cupcake if you'd like, or you can serve them just like an Easter treat just on their own. I find this a little big to put on a cupcake. I think it'd be just too much. But you could try to make the nest smaller by breaking the chow mein noodles up into smaller pieces as well. So you do have alternatives. So there they are, the little bluebirds in the nest. I thought this one turned out really good. And the other little pastel colored chocolate eggs in a nest. I also tried putting some of those little jelly beans in the phyllo nests, and I thought that was really cute as well. And there are the chow mein noodle nests. So there you go, Easter cupcakes with bird's nests, 3 different ways. Tell me which one you prefer and give them a try.